Once, on the east side of a lovely city, there lived a woman, a man, and their two children. The woman and the man had never really taken to the children. As it turns out, they were very expensive to keep, and while they ate nearly as much as the man and the woman, they produced very little of value. When the man learned that he would be fired from his job, it was decided that while they needed a house and they needed a car, they had come to realize they neither needed nor wanted children, and after relinquishing them, they would also no longer have great need of their expensive-to-maintain van, which they could also sell for profit. They quickly sold the children for a fair fee to an older woman who lived in the city. She did not purchase the van, though, and they are still offering it to potential buyers. The woman had assumed she would start a computer repair shop, and believed that the children, with their tiny hands, would be able to work with circuit boards and microchips much more efficiently than adults. It would also help that she would not need to pay them, since she had bought them as slaves. While her estimation for their having tiny hands was correct, she had overlooked their tiny minds, and it soon became clear they would never repair microchips or motherboards. She was also in the meantime becoming distraught at how much the children seemed to eat, and while attempting an average cost per child, she discovered this. If viewed as foodstuff, the children's unit cost effectiveness increased substantially, so it seemed that, per pound, her best bet was simply to eat them, and by the math, if she did it soon, she would only be out a small sum. This would produce a markedly higher net rate of return. But she had her doubts about her own ability to murder and cook two children. She thought it would be intense, horrifying, ghastly, and macabre. Her solution was to trick the most gullible, the girl. She informed her that she and her brother were both worthless until they grew up, so she would have to murder them both when they went to sleep that night. But, the woman told the girl, she actually liked her. She would rather not murder a girl she liked, and it was her brother's laziness and stupidness that she truly despised. She made the girl an offer. If she was willing to slaughter and boil her brother, and she could concoct a fine enough soup, she would keep her alive. They would go into business together, catering. The girl asked if they could name the business after her brother when he was dead, and when the woman agreed, the girl said she would do it. So that night, the woman enjoyed a wonderful soup made by the girl from the boy, and she told her what a fantastic job she had done. But because it had been a trick, the next night the woman slipped into the girl's room, and taking back her promise, told the girl she really couldn't go into business with the 4-year-old because, 1, it was illegal, and 2, she was lazybones. Then she murdered her, making her into a dozen loaves of bread, which she estimated as being the most effective use of her small body. Bread being unlikely to spoil if kept dry, but also being a splendid medium to stretch the small amount of flesh she offered. She thought the girl bread would last a month. At the end of that month, the woman came down with a painful bellyache. Perhaps she hadn't cooked the girl bread enough, or perhaps eating children is like eating poison. She even wondered if this was a cruel plan laid out by the children for revenge. Whatever the cause, she felt awful inside, and died a slow, terrible way, lying on the floor, becoming too weak to move, and finally then, being herself eaten by a dog which wandered in through the door, which she had left open, being too weak to close.